In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add the baseball scoreboard input to your vMix production, and I'm also going to show you how to control it with the vMix UTC controller. This is what the vMix UTC controller looks like. Well, you can see over here that I'm showing in NDI monitor, I'm showing the output right now that I have of this vMix UTC controller. Well, how do I do that? Well, the way that that's coming through is this right here, this whole part right here is actually my output from vMix, and then this right here is the NDI monitor. But there's some settings that you're going to have to deal with in order to get this to work. So first off, we're going to have to go right here. You're going to go to settings. We're going to go to outputs and NDI and SRT, and you have to make sure that you have all these NDI settings on, okay? You have to make sure that these are all green. So you're going to have out, depending on what version of vMix you have is going to depend on how many outputs you have. But you need to make sure that for all the outputs that you have active, you have them activated and on, and they'll be green. If I click on it, you'll see how it grays out and it says NDI off. But then when I click on it again, you'll see how it says NDI on. You want to make sure that you have these outputs on, and you also want to make sure that you have cameras, calls, and audio inputs, the NDI on for that as well. And also for the audio output, you want to make sure you have the NDI on for that as well. The way that I have it set it up is I have output 1 is set for my output, and I have output 2 set for preview. We're going to go ahead and close this out. And then we're going to go back to our NDI monitor. Now over here, these are all the NDI active inputs I have on my network. This one, the unit that I'm working on right now, is actually this desktop, and you can see where it says output 1 and output 2. Well, output 1 that we have it set on right now was my output from vMix, and output 2 is my preview. So if I click on this, it's going to take it a moment, but then it's going to change to my preview. So I'm going to take it back to output, and you can see now that's the output. You have to make sure that you have those settings correct in vMix, or it's not going to come through on your vMix UTC. Well, having covered that, the next thing we have to make sure is we have this file right here. You have to make sure that you have this file added into your NDI monitor, or it's not going to display properly. This file should have been downloaded when you downloaded your vMix UTC. It should have come across with that download. So all you have to do is you have to click on this folder right here. You have to point your browser to this file right here. It says vMix UTC NDI monitor data provider. Select it and click open, and then it's going to bring that into your NDI monitor widget, your external data widget, which is your NDI monitor, and then your NDI monitor will display correctly. So that's actually part 1. Part 2, let's go back to this look right here. And I have a few things in here, and that's just so that I can put this tutorial together. But the first thing you would do is you would come over here to add input, and then you would go to title. And then I'm going to click under recent, and I'm going to click right here, and this is the baseball scoreboard, and I'm going to click OK. When I click OK here in the title editor, you can see all the different fields that we can, deal with. You can also see the different images that we have. These are the images to show runner on first, second, and third. And then using vMix UTC, we're going to use the set visible function to turn those items off and on. And then the last thing is the color, and this is going to be the home team background color and different things associated with that particular graphic. So you can see where that graphic came in right here. Well, we're going to go ahead and overlay it over top of this view. So let's go ahead and bring it in on overlay 2. I don't like its position, so let's go ahead and click on position, and then let's go ahead and bring it down, and that's going to allow us to work with it. Okay, so this gives us the view we want. We can see our graphic, and we can also see our vMix UTC controller. The first thing that we're going to have to do, well, let me backtrack a little bit. You want to make sure that this green light is synced, and when this green light is synced, it means that it's actually connected to your vMix UTC production and everything is working properly. So if you see the green light here, things are going pretty well. And then after our little quick explanation here, you should be able to see this in your NDI monitor window. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to come over here to where it says visitor, and we're going to map the visiting team name. So what we have to do is we have to pull in the graphic. Oops, I don't want that. We have to pull in the graphic. First, I'm going to have to sync to bring in the new information. And then I'm going to pull in the graphic, which is this right here. And you can see it automatically brings in visiting team name. So we click OK, and you can see where cards popped up here. We'll do the same thing for home team. We'll bring this in, and you can see where it brings in home team name. So let's make sure these are functioning properly. So we're just going to call this Blue Jays. And we're going to call this one Tigers. And you can see how those changed right here in our graphic. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to map the score. So again, we're going to bring that same, you'll see where this information is in here for us. That comes in with the template. We're going to bring in the baseball scoreboard graphic, and you can see where it brings in visiting score. And now when I click on this plus, you can see where the score is increasing for the Blue Jays. This whole column is going to be the visitor column, and these blue ones right here are actually all this red information is the visitors, and this blue information is the home team. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing for home. Again, click OK, and now let's give the home team a run. Brings it right in. Next thing we're going to do is for the pitches. So we're going to bring in the graphic. You can see where it brings in visiting pitcher text. We'll bring in the home team picture text, and this should work the exact same way for you when you're mapping it for the first time in your production. Then when you save it, all that information is going to be saved. Wild pitch. And what you have to do is you have to bring in the graphic each time where you see these yellow caution signs. You got to bring in that graphic, and then it's going to do the rest of it for you. So anytime you see that yellow caution, that means you don't have something correct, and you need to go back and you need to add that graphic in, and we're going to click OK. Well, now let's see if the wild pitch, yep, there it is. You can see it popping up in the top right-hand corner, so we have the wild pitch correct. And you can see the green around here. That means there's some script being run. When the green goes away, the script is completed. Next thing we're going to do is show pitcher. Again, anytime you see these yellow cautions, you got to bring that graphic in. And let's see if the show pitcher works now. Oh, that's show visitor pitches. So you can see where the pitches work. Well, let's give them some more pitches. So let's click the plus a few times, and you can see the visiting pitches coming in. This is the hide visitor pitches button. Click OK. Now let's click this, and you can see where that goes away. We can also put in a name for the pitcher. Let's call this, we'll just call him visitor pitcher. Show visiting pitcher. We didn't map it, so let's do that. Click OK. It's just got text in here. So let's just call this visitor pitcher. And you can see where that comes in. And then we should be able to hide it with that one right there. This one right here is for pass ball. Again, we see some of these yellow cautions, so we need to make sure we have the graphic in all these spots. Click OK. Let's see if pass ball works now, and it does. You can see it come in right there. Let's come down here to the very bottom where it says clear score. We're going to click on that one. Nothing that we have to map there. So let's see if we click clear score if anything happens. And you can see it takes the score back to 0. And I'm not going to demonstrate home pitcher. It's the exact same process for the visiting pitcher. So now we'll go up here to where it says balls and strikes. Clicking on the cog for this. We're going to bring in the baseball scoreboard. Now let's click on ball. You can see where it adds ball 1 in here. Let's go up here under strikes. Going to bring that graphic in, click OK. Let's click strike. All right, now that's working. We're going to do the same thing for outs. And you can see where it brings in the outs. Let's go ahead and click on out. And that works. So let's go ahead and clear balls and strikes. That's going to work as well. Let's go ahead and reset the outs. And that works. Next thing we're going to do is up here under inning. Going to bring in the graphic. It automatically is mapped to the inning field. And so now this drop-down list should work. So let's go to the 9th inning. And you can see where it shows the 9th inning. This is the top and bottom indicator. So you see these yellow caution signs again. So we need to make sure we bring the scoreboard in. And this seems like a lot of work, but you only have to do this one time. And then after you save it, it's going to be in your production from there on out. And do the same thing for bottom of the inning. Okay, so right now we have the bottom of the inning. Let's go ahead and click on top. You can see where the indicator changes. And also set with this top and bottom inning is actually the pitcher stats. So you can see where it changed to text because now we're dealing with the home pitcher. But if we go to the bottom of the inning, the home team's batting. Now we're dealing with the visitor pitcher, and you can see where the visitor pitches come back in. So for hit and home run, this should let's go ahead and this will turn the scoreboard off and on. We'll clear it off of overlay channel 2, then we'll click on it and you can see where it brings the scoreboard in. Let's go ahead and map hit, error, and home run. That's hit. Error. And that's home run. The runner on first, you click on right here where it says runner on first, and you can see a runner now occupies first base. I'm going to click on runner on second. Now we have a runner occupying second base and a runner on third, and we now have a runner occupying third base. I click this button here and it says clear the bases, and it clears all the runners. So let's look at these. What you'd have to do is you'd probably have a yellow caution there. You'd have to bring this in, and you have to make sure the title index for runner on first, you have to make sure the title index is set to image source 7. So you would click right here. For runner on second, you'd have to make sure that the title source index is listed to 9, which is on second base. So we click OK. And let's go back to this. These top ones are text, and these bottom ones are sources, and we know image is synonymous with source. So when we're dealing with a image, we want to make sure that we're also using this source at the end. So we want to make sure this is on second base source, and then this last one will be on third base. So we'll click the title editor again, come down to the sources. On third base, we'll click right here. And now let's go ahead and load the bases up. Runner on first, you can see that comes in. Runner on second, you can see that comes in. Runner on third, that comes in as well. And then when we clear them, we click right here. Just to make sure that our other image sources are functioning correctly, we have top of the inning, and that's working. Bottom of the inning, that's working. Let's make sure our hit's working. Error. And home run. So now we have the entire graphic working as it should. Again, thank you so much. I do appreciate everyone that stops by the online store at onemanstream.com. Thank you so much for supporting One Man Stream.